Hey guys, it's Corey Alexander. Just wanted to say thank you for watching MotoAmerica on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button.
It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Our round, Superbikes at New Jersey, in Millville, New Jersey, as we set the stage for Supersport race action. It's our 8th round and race number 1 coming up from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Hello everyone and welcome to New Jersey Motorsports Park. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time world champ Jason Pridmore. Now Jason, Supersport finds us in a very interesting position here with 4 races to go, 2 rounds to go in this championship. In Supersport, Josh Herron has a monumental lead and could wrap the championship up this weekend.
Yeah, for sure, Greg, and you've seen him be pretty dominant throughout the course of the year on that Ducati. It's been a nice switch up for Herron to jump onto this motorcycle, and he's done kind of what we thought he would do. As you can see here in the points, he's got a nice lead. See Rocco Landers there, 233, 76 points behind. Then you have Ty Scott and Ben Smith there as well. So we'll see how it goes. As Herron struggled a little bit here, qualified 5th today, so we'll see how it goes, but he's got that championship on the brink.
Let's take a look at Josh Herron, Jason, over the course of this season, because when you look at the Californian, he has been dominant, and he's done it in a way that's been interesting because this rings in this brand new next generation Supersport class.
Yeah, no question. He went to Atlanta, did the double there, then he got into a nice little battle, as you saw there, with Josh Hayes in race number 2 at VIR. He did the double at the Ridge, then he went on to Laguna Seca and had another tremendous weekend in Monterey. So for Herron this year, he's been doing exactly what he wants to do. He's having fun, and he's winning races, and that doesn't get much better than that. You saw him there at the 2nd race in Pittsburgh, kind of come back after that 1st race on day 1, lose to Rocco Landers. Herron comes back with race 2 win.
Well, now let's get right down to Jamie Howe, who's with the number 2 Josh Herron.
Well, when you look at Josh Herron's career, you really have to go back to 2009 when he made his first solid run at a Supersport championship. He finished 2nd that year. He went on to finish 2nd again in 2011, another 2nd place championship finish in 2015. Josh, you've been open with the fact that you had unfinished business here in the Supersport category. When you go back to those days, how much of that rider still remains on the grid today?
Oh, I think a lot. I think I still got the same fight that I had back then, but, 14 more years of experience. So hopefully the experience pays off today and we can get that fight in us and try to wrap it up today. I don't want to be wrapping it up tomorrow. I want a stress-free race tomorrow. So I'm going to do my best to try and get a win today and be able to just finish it off. So this weekend's been going a little bit rough so far, but I always, like I said before in interviews with you guys, you get the bad luck out of the way at the beginning of the weekend and have a good rest of the weekend.
The rider that is chasing him in the title is Rocco Landers. Back in 2009, Hannah, Rocco was only 4 years old, and he's leading the field today.
And Jamie, well, at 17 years old, he's kind of in Josh Herron's shoes, 2nd place in the championship point standings as we are now. Rocco, you've had 3 victories so far this season. On pole here this weekend, what is it going to take from you to get another victory?
Send is what it's going to take. I don't have to send it. But, yeah, I mean, this R6 is working really good, thanks to my team. Thanks to the homie Zach the Generator for letting me rep the sick glasses, and I mean, try to at least take the championship to tomorrow and see what happens, but we're pulling for a victory today, obviously. That's the plan.
Best of luck, Rocco. Hopefully those glasses will bring him some luck as well, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he can do at this point. All Rocco can do is win the race, but if he finishes behind Josh Herron in any order, any place, Herron will win it. Jason, here's a look at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Relatively flat, but still entertaining.
Relatively flat, but very busy, Greg. Down into turn 1 is where the action will start here. Then we go up over a small little rise into that turn 3A, B, and C, and then we go up over the top of a ridge. Fast turn 4 into hard braking turn 5. A lot of fans over there. Then 6 falls away from you. Then 7, 8, 9 is all spent accelerating on the right-hand side of the tire. That last little stretch of run there from turn 11 to turn 12, super important to have a bike that goes through those S's nicely because you want to go through that last corner, especially on one of these Supersport machines, Greg, almost wide open through that fast kink right-hander onto that front straightaway.
New Jersey Motorsport Park tends to give us great racing. All right, we are about 5 minutes away from a race start. Yeah, Sam Lockoff is back in action today. He starts in 7th position. Can't wait to see what he's got for us. And how about this guy, the veteran Josh Hayes starts from 4th. It's going to be a good one.
that row hair, Hayden. We have one opportunity to get our thoughts down, barring any red flags. We have our little window here to talk about the things that we've seen up till now and what we expect afterwards. One of those being Ty Scott. Saw him back in the paddock yesterday, just chilling around the pits. He's young, but he's very composed in the way that he does things. He's on the front row. I think with Josh Herron, with the possibility of clinching things, I think you'll see guys like Ty Scott, Stefano Mesa, Rocco Landers maybe push a little harder than you would see Herron. I think we're looking for the win out of Tyler Scott this season.
I think so for sure, especially this being a home race for him. He's got a lot of family and friends here. This is where he grew up. I remember seeing Ty Scott here, 9 years old, riding a little pit bike around, dragging his knee in the infield. So this is a track that he knows well and a place that he likes. So hopefully he can have a good race. And he's been fast all weekend. He's been pretty consistent. The last couple races he hasn't been, you know, close to the front as he was beginning of the year, but he's had a heck of a first season in Supersport for how young he is. He's made a couple mistakes, but not too many. He doesn't make the same one twice.
Yeah, and this is his home race. It's not the home race of Rocco Landers, but it feels like home. The victories he's had here at this track in a variety of classes, whether it be juniors or Twins Cup, now trying to win in the third class in almost as many, in as many years. Now in Supersport, the 97, can he get it done? Because we were always wondering when that first race would happen. Well, now that we've seen multiples, you get on that roll, you think you can win every single race. You might think you can do it, but now you're showing that you can do it.
Yeah, I think he feels like he can win every race. And, you know, he's really got a lot of confidence right now. And like I said before when we talked at the beginning of the show, I want to see Rocco in a battle with somebody all the way to the end. I think that'd be great for him. And he's really figured out those first couple laps. He's been fast this weekend, and you know, he's got a lot of confidence, and things are finally coming together for him.
He has been, and his mentor going to be starting on that second row. Josh Hayes on the number 4, trying for that all-time wins, number 85, the most all-time wins. How do you say it? Do you say Duhamel or do you say Duhamel?
Duhamel.
Because I was like, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
but I know Greg is there.
Close enough.
But either way, he's looking to go inch one bit closer to that. Has 84 total wins in MotoAmerica / AMA. Miguel has 86. This could be the day. You know he wants to, and he's planning on racing Barber. And this is a bike that he was used to, that he looks so good on at Daytona and looks so good on at VIR.
Yeah, he has a great shot. He's, you know, yesterday he had the best race pace, did a lot of laps, so he's definitely going to be a guy to beat. It's going to be aggressive. He knows how to get it done around here.
But everyone is chasing Josh Herron, that Warhorse HSBK Ducati New York entry. The number 2 is the points leader. With a win here, he knows he clinches the championship.
MotoAmerica Supersport coverage is sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series, and by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
Hey, if you come to New Jersey Motorsports Park this weekend, you got to demo ride some motorcycles. This is Yamaha's display. Get to check out all the latest Yamahas, and if you have your motorcycle license and your gear, you come on out and sample them. Pretty cool. They do like a lead ride. Man, this is just crazy this weekend, Jason. The crowd here at New Jersey Motorsports Park has been huge. Nuts. It's
huge.
Awesome.
Yeah, I went out there and walked around a little while ago, and even the food vendors were literally 20 to 30 deep. So good to see so many fans here at Jersey. They always show up here, and yeah, the paddock is full, and you can look at it. You can see everywhere's pretty packed.
That's right. And one of those windows right there is our booth, actually. Let's take a look at the starting grid, though. After a couple of days of practice and qualifying, this is what happened this morning. Rocco Landers able to do a 122.416 ahead of Stefano Mesa, who's back in action, and the youngster Ty Scott.
Then we have Josh Hayes and Herron back there in 4th and 5th with Benjamin Smith 6th. Good to see Sam Lockoff back ahead of Luke Power and Dom Doyle. Nassani, Schultes, and CJ LaRoche going to be outside row 4. Then we got Liam Grant, Amaya Zaragoza, Donde, and Sabora there in the 6th row. A couple surprises, Greg, when you start to look at the tire list. You know, we see Herron on his extra softs on both front and rear, but there's definitely an array of tires that we've not seen before. So it's going to be interesting as this race starts to play out and see how these work. But we know this guy's back on the rubber that he liked. We saw him make that small mistake, maybe a team decision, I'm not sure, in race 1 at Pittsburgh. and what happened the second day when he felt comfortable, he ran away. But Rocco's trying to keep this championship alive.
Obviously a home race for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York team, as they have that Ducati Manhattan dealership. We're relatively close, about as close as we get to New York City. Here we go. It's time for this 19-lap Supersport race number 1 to get underway. When these lights go off, we're going. There we go. Good race start. And it looks like Ty Scott from 3rd spot got a really good launch on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. And he did, Jay.
He did. Look at Mesa. Rocco tried to defend that spot, but he's going to fall back to 4th from the first row. The guy with the amazing start again, Josh Herron in 2nd place, is he's going to chase down Ty Scott. We got GSXR 750 in front and in 3rd with Lockoff, who must have made another incredible start for Lockoff as well there, Greg. So Ducati sandwiched right between them with a couple R6s behind.
Talking to Josh Herron moments before this race, he told me, just like he told us at the top of the show, that it was all about finishing this race and being free so he can race hard and try to win the rest of the season. But right now, Josh Herron, who, Jason, honestly talking to him, he felt a little bit snug, a little bit tight before this race because he knows his head is in this championship. But this is exactly the dream start that he wanted. All eyes on Rocco Landers, and I'm sure that his crew is going to be giving him some information as to the position of his title contender, Rocco Landers.
Yeah, what Herron's doing right now, all he wants to do is see the 97 behind him. That's the important guy to beat. So, at the moment, with Ty Scott in front of him, Ty's actually pulling Josh along. You can see they've created a gap there over Lockoff. So Herron right now is going to have +1, as you see Hayes has made it past Rocco Landers as well. But for this first lap, as Ty Scott comes across the line, that Ducati's in the draft. Herron will try to pass him down into turn 1 if he gets close enough.
In the draft, there goes Herron, deep on the brakes for that Panigale V2. Whoa, almost ran out of room. So that almost became disaster for your championship points leader. You saw in the straightaway that he grabbed a tear off from his visor. So a bid for Herron. He'll lose a couple of bike lengths. As we know, Ty Scott, who's out of Pennsylvania, on that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki, is a fighter. There goes Hayes on that Squid Hunter Yamaha R6. He goes up the inside on Lockoff, and here comes Rocco Landers. So Landers will follow his coach Hayes.
Mesa and Ben Smith. So you can see there, Mesa and Ben Smith were both trying to go past Lockoff. Mesa made it through. Ben Smith got shut off there, and it looks like he got passed by someone there too, Greg. It looked like it could be Power, but I'm not sure.
So Ty Scott's out front, still with Josh Herron in second. Herron credited with the fastest lap of the race so far at a 25.9. And then you have this whole group that's trying to sort themselves out. There on that black and green GSXR 750 is Luke Power out of Australia. So Power on the 68 on the 3D Motorsports GSXR 750. Having a good run here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. But now we're starting to break up into a couple different groups.
This is where you're going to start to see that draft. Mesa could try to get a double bike draft, but Rocco's going to do everything he can to get by Hayes so that he can go chase after that guy that's got the championship on the line. Herron, he doesn't want to let Josh Herron get too comfortable. You see Rocco has made that pass stick on Hayes as they head down into turn 1. What Rocco's got to do now is close that gap down, because this time by, Herron probably had a +1 or more on his board already. That's going to give him some comfort for sure.
So Josh Herron on his own with the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York machine. No teammate in this class. Neither is Rocco Landers. But Jay, when you look at it, Josh Hayes has said many times, if he ends up racing with Rocco Landers, who Josh Hayes coaches, he's not giving him an inch. He's going to race him hard for it. But you think, keep the championship alive, would he really do it? Left part of your screen, Jay, here was the attempt.
Yeah, that was from the first flying lap through. Herron got himself just down to the inside. I could see him drafting, but he wasn't quite close enough, and especially on the opening lap when there's really no fatigue and we're on brand new tires, Ty Scott's going to run it in there deep, and he just was able to keep Herron behind him. As we see somebody crash, Ty Scott. Ty Scott has probably high-sided himself there.
Wow, he high-sides himself out of lead with a 0.2 of a second advantage when they came across the line. What a shame for Ty Scott. Yeah, and now Josh Herron has it his entire way. This is exactly the scenario that Josh needed. However, Jason, with that said, as you know, when it comes to racing, sometimes if you have a carrot in front of you, the laps click by a lot faster and a lot easier when you're chasing somebody, as Josh Herron had Ty Scott as he falls down the leaderboard. Now all of a sudden, it's Josh Herron in first place, then Rocco Landers, Josh Hayes, and Mesa.
Yeah, for a minute, you saw the red, and you're thinking it's Herron And but Ty Scott, we've seen him a couple times this year just make those mistakes. That looked like it was probably a big one. I'm happy to see Ty Scott get up, and again, he's going to learn from this. But what I got to take away is that last lap through, 23.8 for Herron. Now, keep in mind, he had that happen right in front of him, but you see this group behind. As long as Hayes sees that Rocco's pulling him forward,
oh, Josh, where are you going, Hayes?
I'm saying as long as he sees that he's pulling him forward, he might not mess with Rocco too much. But 23.4 for Landers the last time through. So they were almost a half a second quicker, and so far in this lap, Herron's been able, well, the first sector, Greg, they closed half a second up on him again. You can see some debris left there from that accident just a lap ago, and those three guys are definitely closing up.
Like I said, Jay, I just think that with Herron, he had Ty Scott. He was able to benchmark off of him. So it was more of a hindrance for Herron that Ty Scott exited the race as this crew, as Ty Scott goes into his pit. Hannah, what you got?
We've seen Josh Hayes the last 2 rounds filling in on the N2 bobblehead moto bike for Kevin Almeida. This weekend, he is happy to be back with his Squint Hunter team on a motorcycle that is set up exactly how he wants it set up, a bike that feels like his own. Heading into the weekend, they really based the setup for this motorcycle on 2019 when he was here and earlier this year. And he had a small crash in Q2, but the rider and bike are both okay. He's just really excited to be back out there and to be with this team. He's still chasing that all-time wins record. Aside from a big gearing change from yesterday that he really liked, he said he knows he can go the full race distance, and he's catching up to Herron now.
Yeah, they've closed the gap, and so now we have a 4-rider battle for the lead as they wheel that Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki GSXR 750 away from hot pit lane.
You can see Rocco thought about that, but let's give a shout out, Greg, 37, Stefano Mesa. What a great job he's doing. He's been able to go with Landers and Hayes and close that gap down to Herron as well. We know it's going to start getting spicy up front here, and that 37, he races so much, Greg, that, you know, on the club level especially, chasing contingency all over the place, mostly here in the southeast and our northeast, southeast tracks, and Mesa's right there with this lead group now.
And of course, New Jersey Motorsports Park, Jason, is very motorcycle friendly. They have a lot of track days here, races here, and so Mesa has an opportunity all during the summer to come up here and race as much as he wants. All right, so it's Josh Herron out front. Here comes Rocco Landers. He's trying to get a drive. He goes up the inside. What a great drive out of the last corner onto the front straightaway. Rocco Landers on the R6, deep on the brakes. He takes over the position. And now Herron's got some thinking to do about this championship if he wants to try to wrap it up today.
Well, Hayes is going to take a shot at Herron in turn 5 the second they get down there. You can almost be guaranteed on that. So the thing is that now this is where, again, Stefano Mesa, he could take advantage of this as well. Did you see the corner speed that Rocco Landers had coming onto this front straightaway? That was incredible. Look to see if the number 4 does anything with Herron here as they go into this turn.
There he goes. So the Hayes up the inside on Herron. He's got position. They're side by side. When they come out of this, who's going to have it? There you go. Almost rubbing elbows there. No big whoop. As Josh Herron will hold on to second place. This is what I'm saying. Jason, you know, talking to Josh, he was a little bit concerned, you know, just thinking about it. He was in his head. He's a little tight. When you're riding by yourself, sometimes you want some people to race against. This actually could be good for Herron, knowing that Rocco's right there, but he needs no one in between himself and his championship rival.
Well, what Ty Scott did at the beginning was pull him away from these guys, and had that continued, you're right, Greg, that might have made it easier for Herron to continue to go with Ty Scott. Unfortunately, Ty tipped off, and so now we've got this scenario, but Herron, he should have a good run out of this last corner, but look how fast Rocco is through the middle of that turn.
That Yamaha R6 of Rocco Landers is dialed in. All right, so last time by, they go 23.5. Oh, and Herron goes up the inside. So he's seen enough for the moment. Wants to let Rocco know he's there. Herron trying to go close off that inside. No big dramas. So another pass for the lead. Rocco looking for a way to round. Cannot get it done. This is incredible to think what's happening here. This championship.
Josh looked down the inside of Rocco.
Dude, they can't do it
there.
there.
Very tricky spot.
Yeah, that's a big bump right there in the middle of that 3. So Josh Herron looking good. Is Hayes going to try to make a pass on Rocco Landers? He doesn't. Jamie?
You mentioned that bump for Herron, and that's one of the things that he was most concerned with coming into the race. It's the tracks that are the bumpiest where they seem to struggle the most in getting the feel of the bike right, and that's what he's been challenged with so far this weekend. What he didn't know was what the other bikes were like. The only real chance that he gets to see them ride around is from our pictures throughout practice and qualifying, so he hadn't had a chance to ride with anybody. Watching him ride behind Rocco, then taking the initiative to make that pass, make it stick. I'm sure he saw something out there from what the rest of the pack was doing, but he didn't have a lot of confidence over those bumps, but he certainly seems to be gaining it as the race goes on.
Yeah, and I think, Jamie, to your point, that's kind of always been the problem, or the part of that motorcycle for Josh over the bumps. He has struggled, and this race right now, look at this. Rocco Landers gets that drive again. Hayes in the draft of the 97. He's not going to be close enough, and we're going to see this go back and forth, I think, a few times. I think to your point also, Greg, it's good for Herron to have guys to race with like this, and now he's got that championship sitting right smack in front of him right now and knows that he's just got to beat that one guy. The problem is with the number 4 and the 37 behind Herron at the moment. You know, it would be one thing if Herron just had one guy to race, but he's got another couple guys there that want to get in this battle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like forced focus, isn't it? When you're racing with someone, here comes Josh Hayes. Is he going to go up the inside on Herron? He does. Can he hold on to the line? No, he doesn't get that one done. So well played by Herron to let Hayes get that pass, square up the corner, and get back on the drive.
Yeah, the thing is that Hayes will continue to try that move, and you know, Herron wants to stick close enough to the back of Rocco so that when they come out of that last corner, he can try to draft that R6 as well and outbreak Rocco down into turn 1 like we've seen him do already. That's going to be what Herron needs to do, and you know, he doesn't want to continue to fall too far back, knowing that there's a couple more people right behind him. He's looking at his board, as are all these guys. The only guy that's going to see any space at all as far as a plus is going to be Mesa sitting there in 4th. You can see Rocco's board +0. Herron makes a bold move as they go into that last corner.
Nice pass for the lead from Herron. Maybe a rehearsal for the end of the race. When they come by the stripe now, it's 11 laps remaining, so still a ton of tarmac to cover, and Josh Hayes goes around Rocco Landers. So just like that, it's Herron leading from Hayes, leading from Rocco Landers, all the while Mesa hanging there just in case anything happens. Mesa kind of looks like he's in conservation mode, just chilling out back there. Not sure if he's on the limit. I haven't seen Mesa's body language accelerate.
Josh so badly wants to just straight line that back, and he just can't quite get there. Now, if Hayes goes through again, is he going to take another shot? Not close enough this time, Greg.
Yeah, in terms of the championship, Josh Hayes not part of it. And Herron's going to know that as he has a look over his shoulder. Let's get to Jamie.
We go back to Stefano Mesa sitting there in 4th place right now, and we've seen him when he does race throughout the season on a part-time schedule that he's able to close up towards the front, towards the end of the race, but it's always after a fight. This is the first time he's really been with the lead pack the entirety of the race to this point, and that really comes, he says that they attribute to a crew member that he has this weekend named Secchi, came all the way up from Argentina to help him. Normally it's Stefano getting off of the bike, doing the work to get it ready for the next session, and then getting on the bike to race it. This weekend Secchi's come on and taken some of that pressure off and really gone through the bike, gave him something that was solid. He went faster here than he's ever gone, even with all the experience that he has, so his confidence certainly high. Hopefully he can turn it in and maybe get his first podium of the season.
Yeah, and he's constantly learning every lap too as he paces the riders in the front. Now, Jay, what's been interesting too is I'm thinking about Josh Herron and the strength of the Ducati. What he's talked about all season long is the ability for the Ducati to get the Dunlop rear tire to the end of the race. What I think Josh Herron might be doing as well is trying to wear this rear tire out and really cause these guys, because think about how much lean angle and how much acceleration Rocco's using to get onto the front straightaway. Now, look, you can kind of see a little bit of, on the left knee puck of Rocco Landers, you see some tape flying there. About a lap and a half ago, I saw Rocco dig his knee into the grass.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but you can definitely see it flapping along. This last corner, pretty interesting if you look at it, because Herron a few laps ago made a very bold pass going into there. I can't tell you how committed you have to be to make that kind of pass, and Herron was able to slide up underneath Rocco Landers coming onto that front straight. That said, and you can see Herron a little bit wide there. The R6s seem like they got his number in the middle of this last corner. All through here, Herron looks solid. Even on the exit of this corner, looks solid. But when they get the run, as they start to tip into this right-hander, these R6s look like they have the measure of the Ducati as far as stability through the middle of that corner. That's why they're able to pull up onto him so quickly there. You can see now Hayes up alongside Landers as they come down into turn 1. He'll try to make this pass on both of them.
Oh! Josh Hayes out of nowhere. Like a side draft on Rocco Landers and gets by both of them from third to first.
But that's because he came out of that last corner in third and was able to rip through that corner right through the middle of it. Now, when he comes out of here, he straight lines it over to this right-hander. A lot of the other guys have been opening up that right a little bit. Look at the gap that Hayes pulled just from 3B to 3C. We've been seeing him do that over and over again. And now, again, Hayes, I don't think will be that big of a worry for Herron. He still has the guy behind him that he needs to keep there. Boy, Rocco was in a bad spot there in the sense that Hayes was going up underneath him and Herron was putting on the brakes in front of him. Rocco showed a lot of motorcycle control there to get that bike slowed down and slot himself back into third.
Fastest lap of the race was Ty Scott, who had an early exit in turn number 1. He did a 1:23.0, but when he was out front and Josh Herron was chasing, Herron has done the fastest lap of the race on the riders out there, a 1:23.2, so we know he has speed.
Even that turn 9 there, Greg, Josh Hayes is able to get that R6 in there and turn it and get it good. Now, let's see after they come through this little section. Herron, so fast through this spot. Let's see if he can pull on Hayes down this front straightaway. Look at how quick that R6 gets through that last corner. I don't think Herron will be close enough to do anything with him down into turn 1.
And the other thing to look at is Rocco Landers lost a couple of bike lengths on that lap to Josh Herron. So Herron now has Hayes to look out for, to look up the road, to pull him along. And Rocco Landers, the concern that I have thinking about Landers and his championship is how well is that rear tire going to hold up? Hannah?
And Greg, in talking to Rocco Landers specifically about that, we know he's really strong at the end of the race, but he said his goal for this weekend was to be strong and stick with those front guys at the beginning of the race because he knows that he'll be there in the end. He's done just that so far. He did race the team challenge here last weekend that really helped him refamiliarize himself with the circuit layout. And he did well here last year. He got a P4, but rather than base this weekend setup on that, he's based it on setups from earlier this year with a lot of influence from Josh Hayes. He's contributed to both bike setup and Rocco's riding, which he contributes large in part to his success and his 3 victories so far this season. He said there's no one he loves racing more with than Josh Hayes, but I'm sure he likes it a little bit more when he can beat Josh Hayes.
Yeah, they both want to beat each other. There is no question. And as rider and coach, they've had the conversation many times over, and that is when the visor goes down, we're just racers.
Yep. You know, I'm bummed for Stefano because turn 10 seems to be a spot where they pull away from Mesa, and he's not able to go with them down this front straightaway. You can see the gap that both Herron and Landers pull on the 37. As you see, Rocco Landers now slides up the inside of the 2 of Josh Herron. Now Landers just needs to keep his attention.
Went up the inside.
It looked like Herron was going to go back up underneath him. He did.
So Herron goes up the inside on Rocco Landers, and that's typical Josh Herron. He'll fight back immediately.
Yeah, that's what you love about him, and I think that he knows he's got to beat that one guy, doesn't he, Greg? And right now it's just a man-on-man battle, and he's not worried about Hayes getting away.
Yeah, Josh Hayes, who's trying to go for the all-time win record, if he's able to pull this one off, will pull to within 1 of the famed Miguel Duhamel in all-time wins. And of course, for the Squid Hunter team, that would be a huge celebration for that crew. But in terms of our championship, for our series regulars, it's all about this. Basically, Josh Herron needs to keep Rocco Landers behind him at the checkered flag. If that happens, Herron wraps up this championship early. It doesn't matter what position they're in.
You see Herron, he's going to go up underneath Herron. Herron's going to square it up and shoot back up underneath him as Rocco finds himself out on that curbing. Herron fires it back. So,
dude, there's a lot of trust in the front end for Herron to be able to do that tight.
Yeah, but they also know that they got some curbing that they can run up on the outside of turn 2, and he used every bit of that he could. Now, again, Landers so fast through that last corner. He's going to pull back up alongside Herron. He's going to make this pass again. Just needs to get that bike slowed down a little bit more into the apex so Herron doesn't turn it back up underneath him. But there it is again, Greg. Turns it back up underneath him. Now Mesa is right there ready to strike if he can. But to be honest, Mesa's such a veteran too. He knows what's happening in front of him as far as the championship goes as well. So Stefano's going to just ride as clean as he can. And he's only going to, I think, really make a pass if he has to. This guy last time by, 23.3, for Josh Hayes, and these guys are all in the 24s.
With 6 laps to go, Rocco Landers formulating a plan on the motorcycle at the moment. Last time by the stripe, it was Josh Herron who got to the stripe first by 21 thousandths of a second. So I think Rocco's got to be thinking, Jason, possibly that he needs to be in front of Josh Herron before they come onto the front straightaway, because that drag race, it looks like at least a couple of laps that we've seen on and off during this race that the Ducati might have the advantage to where they paint this fish. Oh, Rocco with a little bit of a bobble.
Well, you just get so close. You're up the back of the guy there, and then when they start to break or get that little downshift done, you've just got to be so ready for them to do that. And Mesa that time was able to keep them a little bit more honest through that turn 10 area. So trying to see if he can get going. You can see just behind them, Ben Smith still running really good pace. Ben is also another rider that's been in the 23s, but he's back there in 5th spot at the moment. Herron runs a pretty protective line down that front straightaway so that Rocco can't come up underneath him. 5 laps to go now.
So I think Rocco in that instance is just trying something else, knowing that there's 5 laps remaining in this race. So Josh Hayes is out front by almost 3 seconds. This is the battle for second and the battle for the national championship. Number 2 is Josh Herron on the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati, then Rocco Landers on the 97. There's a look at the gap between first and second place.
Rocco's doing everything he can now to try to do something with Herron, and it's funny because it looks like Herron has to open up 3C. Next lap through, I'll try to show you what I mean. He tries to open that up because there's some bumps there, Greg, and I don't think that he likes to go over those bumps right now at any kind of lean angle. So the R6 is straight line that little section a little bit more, and I think Herron can't necessarily go over those bumps with lean and get the power to the ground the way he would like it. So there's a little difference in lines between these motorcycles in that one specific spot.
Problem is those big bumps, there's only a couple of them around here.
Yeah, so in those spots, right?
In those spots, yeah. Right? So it's not like it's a constant problem around the racetrack.
And you got to go over them, so it doesn't matter. They kind of go across the track, so it's just a matter of how things are set up. Now Rocco, again, he's going to get a great slingshot this time. Let's see if he beats that Ducati to the line if this was the last lap. Look what Herron's doing. He's doing the smart thing. He's getting it back over to the left there, our left, and Rocco's still going to go back up underneath him. Will Herron square it up, though?
There's not a lot of room there. Yeah, that one, I think that extra bike length that Rocco had on Herron didn't allow Herron to sneak up the inside and take over the lead. Now if Rocco's got something in the tank, he's going to try to pull the pin and put some daylight between himself and his championship rival. All the while, there is to number 4.
Unreal.
The 47-year-old out front, 3.2 seconds now, the lead.
And you know Herron is trying to formulate a plan to do whatever he can to sneak back by the 97. And like to your point too, Greg, as he sneaks back underneath him right now.
Ooh, on the bump too.
Wow.
So Josh definitely held his breath over that one, got that done. He'll retake second spot.
Yeah, and I don't think he has that much stress to worry about. I think he can run with Rocco even if Rocco's leading. And I believe he could probably draft him at the line. But you know, Herron obviously feels like he would like to lead out of that last corner when they come onto that front straightaway. We're going to see 3 laps to go.
I mean, look, if you looked at qualifying alone, Josh Herron qualified 0.8 of a second slower than our pole sitter Rocco Landers. I think what Herron's doing and the package that his team put together, it's incredible right now.
He's a racer, though, isn't he? I mean, look, see what he's doing now by protecting that. He's making Rocco go down the long way down the outside. Landers is going to try to do that. I don't think he's going to make it. But yeah, Herron's just got that track position. See, this is. Oh,
there goes Mesa.
Yeah, now Mesa wants to get on that podium. He's hungry, and he was just waiting for the right time. He's been keeping his nose really clean back there, but now, you know, Rocco would love to see Mesa go take a shot at Herron, I'm sure.
Yeah, and last time by the stripe, Mesa was a couple tenths quicker, a couple tenths of a second quicker. Mesa, if he can get clear of Josh Herron, he's thinking, I got nothing to do with this championship. Let me get out of here, get in second place. You guys can duke it out.
Yep, Rocco's going to take a shot right back at him. He wasn't quite there, Jamie.
The last 2 laps, Stefano Mesa's been quicker than these other 2 riders, and I asked him before the race about the role that he could potentially play in mixing up the championship, and he said, listen, I'm not doing this full season. I don't want to ruin a championship for somebody, but my job as my rider is to go out there and finish as high up as I can, and if I've got to pass them and get in the way of them winning a title, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And now with 3 laps to go, we see it all coming to fruition. Exciting stuff.
No, that's great. It's a great report, Jamie, because this young man, He's an incredible rider. He rides 2 classes. You know, again, not getting to always see Stefano for a full season. He deserves to be here for a full season and get proper support. And I think that what you see him doing right now is more proof to that. He's kept his nose pretty clean around these guys. He saw an opportunity. Now Rocco's going to have to go to work on the 37 to try to get back by him to get up to the back of the number 2.
Mesa hard on the brakes. Rocco trying to go up the inside. Mesa has to yield. So Rocco with a good drive. And Jay, that was that part of the racetrack you've been talking about. It all starts about 3 corners before you get on the front straightaway, turn 10.
Yep.
You can see the little gap between Mesa and Herron created.
It's really the one place that I can see Stefano struggling. So it might be something where hopefully he can try to. You see them going over that bump and how different those 2 lines are between the Ducati and the R6, and even Mesa. Mesa's bike looks like it goes over those bumps really nicely. Whatever Stefano's having a problem with in turn 10 right now, if he can kind of figure out a way to get with his guys, sort out something to make him a little bit more comfortable there in warm-up tomorrow. The 37, I think, has a little bit of pace, but he just can't get through one little particular section at the moment.
Rocco with a good run on Josh Herron. Not going to do it on the brakes. All the while, 5.2 seconds, the margin. 5.4 now for Josh Hayes over Josh Herron. Now, Jason, we're getting down to it. There's only a lap and a half remaining in this race. If Rocco Landers has his plan set in stone, he's got to start figuring out where to execute.
Well, he's going to have a shot this time. He's going to have a shot when they come out of this last corner. He's going to rely on this big corner speed that he has. He's going to go through this left, going to short shift the bike up a gear here, get as much of a run as you see Hayes getting to the white flag. He's going to try to draft by Herron as they come down this front straightaway and see if he can get close enough to do something with him in turn 1 and lead, and he's not going to be able to. Herron, really smart riding as they go down that straightaway. Rocco's next best shot will probably be turn 5. And, you know, so I know Herron's going to close the door there as well. They're going to flip from this right to the left and back to that right. And I know Rocco would love to sneak down the inside right here, but it's just not going to happen there.
If the race finished now, Josh Herron would be crowned your Supersport National Champion. Rocco Landers, the only rider in this field that can put a stop to that happening today, and he's trying to figure out how to do it on this final lap in Supersport.
Did you see where Herron parked that bike? There was no chance of going down the inside of him there, and that's what a veteran does, especially when they're trying to win a championship right now. Herron's just got to continue to hit his marks, do what he's been doing the whole race, close these doors. Don't let the 97 have an easy pass down the inside or make you feel like you're in a bad spot, and that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't want, Josh is not letting Rocco dictate anything right now.
Josh Hayes out front on his way to taking the checkered flag and another win. But this battle for second is the battle for the championship. Josh Herron trying to close it off in these final couple corners. Here comes the number 4. Josh Hayes comes onto the front straightaway on a Squid Hunter Yamaha R6. Head behind the bubble, hand in the air. Hayes will take another victory in his career. And how about this final run to the checkered flag? Here we go. And it's going to be Josh Herron holding off Rocco Landers. And Josh Herron able to wrap up the Supersport National Championship for the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati New York entry on the brand new Ducati Panigale V2 with all the work put in from the Italians at Ducati. What a year they've had to win this championship. Front wheel going in the air. You're looking at your new Supersport National champ, Josh Herron.
Yeah, he's got that checked off of his list now, and those last 5, 6, 7 laps there for Herron were nerve-wracking, but that's how you want to do it. You got to beat the guys you got to beat, and he did a nice job.
So Josh Hayes closes within 1 of Ty Miguel Duhamel's all-time win record. Still with 3 races to go in the season. He's got another race here at New Jersey Motorsports Park and then 2 to go. But all eyes on the number 2 as that's going to change to a number 1. A lot of people talking about and questioning why Josh Herron arrived in Supersport after getting the offer to basically ride and develop this Panigale V2 on Dunlop tires in the United States.
This guy, man, he cracks me up. I love watching Hayes, man. And look at laps 11, 12, and 13. Just consistent 23s, low 23s. His fastest lap of the race was a 23.2. With 3 to go, he did a 23.3, and he had a 5-second lead. So he just kind of gets himself locked into his zone. This guy was picking himself up this morning, wasn't he, Greg? We were both looking at the TV thinking, nah, he didn't crash. We can't see any marks on his bike. But he indeed did actually fall over this morning. Did Josh Hayes. He comes back and wins it. So the 2 Joshes with a big day for both these guys.
So Josh Hayes, Josh Herron will stand on the podium once again. This time, Josh Herron will be your national champion. We'll come back to Supersport in a moment.
A 4.5 seconds of victory for Josh Hayes over Josh Herron and Rocco Landers, but the title goes to Josh Herron. Kind of surprised me a little bit. I honestly, you know, with an advantage of what he had coming into this round, I surprised he pushed it that hard because he was not backing off at all, Roger. You knew that he wanted to beat Rocco.
Yeah, he was really aggressive, but, you know, I don't think he was pushing very close to his limit. Just looking at the lap times, I mean, he was doing mid-24s. Some laps they were doing 25s. I think he was just kind of dictating the pace. He'd be in front. He would, you know, ride defensive in spots where you're supposed to ride defensive, and made it hard for Rocco and put himself where he wanted to be in that last lap and got the title. And we know that the guys could go much faster. I mean, that last lap around, mostly 24s, 25. Mesa actually turned to 23, but they were running in the 23 section. It was not the fastest long, you know, the race pace throughout. So there was room to be had. I mean, you saw it when Hayes got out in front, he got it checked out. But the aggressiveness, we saw a second, third, even Stefano Mesa, he didn't fall back like we've seen him do at times before. And I think that was the lap times. I told you when Josh took the lead going in turn one that it was game over. Right. You know, he was in a perfect spot to break away, and, you know, just looking at the pace, he was so much quicker than those guys and was patient, and I knew as soon as he got in the lead right there, he was going to have his best first sector. He was going to check out where they couldn't do those dive bombs to him, and from there, and those two guys going back and forth, like Josh and Rocco, helped him pull away because they were battling and slowing each other up, and Josh put his head down and like he does the last couple laps and pulled a nice gap.
Now, I heard Greg say he's 47 years old. He hadn't quite hit that half-century mark, but he's getting closer to the century mark as far as race wins is concerned. Josh Hayes now moves from 84 wins to 85, just one shy of tying Miguel Duhamel. I don't know who to feel happier for, the guy that won a race that got him close to an all-times list or an all-time rider right here, and Josh Herron taking his first ever Supersport championship. I think this guy here is probably the happiest. I mean, he had a lot of pressure on him this year. Everybody expected him to win, going to Supersport, so there was a lot of weight on his shoulders. And, you know, for Ducati to come in here this year, their first year in the Supersport class in the V2 to win a championship, and the first championship for that team. I mean, that's huge. Absolutely. Geraldo Faraci there. We heard Jason Wygant talk how the representative from North American Ducati is here as well, looking for that championship. It looks like they also have that helmet with a sticker on signifying that he is the national champion. But Warhorse, HSBK, Ducati New York, they've already got the t-shirts printed. Now they're wearing them. Josh Herron is your champion. Josh Hayes is your winner. Rocco Landers finishes on the podium in third.
Celebration for your new national champion as he just makes his way into Parc Ferme. Kisses his son Griffin and wife Rachel after wrapping up that championship. And that's the way you want to do it, with a big #1 jersey, thanking all of his crew. And Jason, you've been down this road before. Got to be one of the most satisfying. And of course, another great story, our race winner, Josh Hayes, who also comes in, kisses his wife. Congratulations. Can you imagine, Jason? Josh Hayes living the dream of every retired racer like you.
Retired racer, yeah. I don't think he ever kind of got that far. As you look at our results, Greg, Josh Hayes goes and wins this race by 4.5 seconds. Tight battle there between Herron and Landers, just like you want to see it all the way to the end. Another shout out for Mesa there in fourth. Benjamin Smith, and how about Jarrett Nassini? Really great job from Nassini today, ended up 6th. Over Lockoff, Luke Perry, and CJ LaRoche round out your top 9.
Yeah, and I love seeing Sam Lockoff back in action, and I'm sure as he continues to get stronger and stronger on the motorcycle, we'll be able to see his results start to climb up the ranks. Well, Jay, this is where things get, yeah, he's a little weighing in. That's part of the MotoAmerica rules. They weigh the rider and the bike as they have a minimum deal. But how about these two, Jason? They've been racing against each other. Don't forget, teammates back in Superbike when Josh won his Superbike title back in 2013. Herron beat Hayes to that title. So these two have known each other a long time.
I wonder how many podiums they've been on together over all the years. Yeah, a bunch, huh?
It's going to be interesting to talk to Josh Herron about sharing a podium with his old teammate Josh Hayes when he gets to stand up on top of the box and finally finish this unfinished business of Supersport, which Josh Herron, of course, started in years and years ago when he was 16 years old. The 32-year-old now comes back after his 16 years and is able to wrap up this championship. But of course, there's a lot of celebration. It's not just with the team, but so many fans out there as well.
And we've had a ton of fans here too. It is loud out there, and it's great to see this guy get his championship finally in this class.
All right, let's get down to Jamie Howe.
Well, I'm going to say, Greg, I don't know that there's a fan down here that Josh Hayes is not celebrating with. Let's get you by your motorcycle. You've got some hardware to collect. Get you right over here, Josh. Mike Pelletier, the director of racing for AMA, is going to hand over your #1 plate for our 2022 MotoAmerica Supersport champion, Josh Herron. Now, Josh, for you, you're already a 2-time MotoAmerica champion. You came back for redemption to the Supersport category. To be able to get it done with 3 races left in the season, how rewarding is this?
Oh man, I can go enjoy myself now. Didn't eat one thing today. Tried to stuff down some fresh lean, but I just couldn't. My stomach was hurting too bad. So huge shout out to the DeNaples family, Bobby Scheck, all of Ducati USA, Ducati Corsa, the entire Ducati New York HSBK racing team, Medallia, everybody that's involved, Competition Works, everybody, OnlyFans, Arai Helmets, Alpine Stars, Fresh and Lean, Black Claw, everybody that supported me. This is, I think, the 8th year trying to get this title, and it means a whole lot. So it's something I'll never forget, especially having Griffin and Rachel here. It's been a really special year, and just a huge shout out to everybody for coming out, and yeah, let's get it tomorrow.
There have been times this season that you've made it look so easy. Today was a challenge for you, though. You were aware of the point scenarios going in. When you were back and forth with Rocco out on the racetrack, what was that mental mindset like for you?
Oh man, I saw that he was going to be. Hayes was making some aggressive passes, and he got me fired up. As soon as I saw him kind of pull away a little bit, I knew all I had to worry about was Rocco at that point. And I just used that 17 years of experience to get in his head a little bit maybe. Kid rode an awesome year. He came on really strong at the end. Congratulations to that whole family. They worked really hard, and super proud to be up here racing with him because I know he's the future of our sport. So thank you to everybody, and ready to go celebrate.
Congratulations to our 2022 Supersport champion, Josh Herron. He finished 2nd today. Our winner is with Hannah.
And Jamie, Josh Hayes is 1 victory closer to the all-time wins record with 85 career wins. Incredible, Josh. We know you love to lead, but you certainly had some work to do in order to get out front and pull away. Take us through your strategy.
You know, it was a bit of a, like, I want to say a mess. It was a lot of fun in the first part of it, but I knew I had some good pace, and I thought the second half would be mine. The guys were getting so deep into turn 1, I wasn't sure I could make the move, and then I kind of said, I got into a position, I said, man, I got to give it one go, and if I can get to turn 2, I think, like the way I was getting into 3 and a few other areas of the racetrack, I said, I think I can get enough. If I can just not get drafted down the front straightaway 1 or 2 laps, I think I can do it. And man, I worked my butt off. I'm so thankful to the Squid Hunter team. They built me an amazing motorcycle. It feels like home, and I love riding it. And you know what, and too, thanks to those guys, because they kept me sharp for the last couple of weeks while I was away, and it really paid off for me today. So they were a part of that, and thank them. Dunlop tires, man, like, I ran the softs, I had them till the end, and I could go faster, but I was protecting a little bit. And the other thing I want to say is congrats to Josh Herron. We've been around each other for a long time in this paddock, and man, I think this is a fantastic championship for him. I've watched him race all year. I've battled with him a little bit. It's some of the best I've seen him do, and happy for him. But more than that, Rocco, man, what a turnaround from him this year. He is so strong, and I guess he still has to pay a little bit for coaching right now. But, you know, I'm having a ton of fun, and thank you guys. I'm thankful for every lap I get to do.
I see your baby Brettley over there pointing at Daddy, and I had a chance to talk to Hawk Hayes as well. I said, your dad won the race. He said, I knew he would the whole time. Now you're only 1 away from tying Duhamel for all time. What does it mean to you to share that with your family?
Man, like, it was funny because my family came when my racing kind of came to its sunset, and I'm so thankful. I want my son and my daughter to see me work for something that I'm passionate about, and I love this so much. I put it out there every time. I hope that they can see that example and whatever it is they choose to do in life.
Congrats, Josh. Thank you. Guys.
Well, I mean, what can you say? You know, we're going to have to dust off Miguel.
Is he going to ride for a full season next year?
Josh Hayes?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's up to him and everybody else. But let's get wrecked right now because we still have a Rocco Landers who finished 3rd.
And for Rocco Landers, in a moment of sportsmanship, I saw you were the first rider over to congratulate Josh Herron on winning this championship. To be a part of the fight and be a part of this conversation at this point in this season, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's run incredible all year. It's an honor to race with him. I grew up watching him race when I was really little, like 5 or 6 years old. I went to Sonoma, and I got to watch these two. I had to watch Josh Herron and Supersport, and Hayes gave me his Dunlop hat after he won the Superbike race. It's an honor. I mean, it's a bummer I couldn't just made one of those passes stick. I know I could have gone with him, but I made a couple slight misjudgments before the race on my part. Kind of killed my front tire there. But we're going to make some nice changes, get the bike better. Hopefully we can fight for the win tomorrow. Yeah, and thank you to everyone. Ben's mom, you get a shout out.
Congratulations on a podium, Rocco. Greg?
All right, so the tail for Rocco Landers is going to be front tire. But listen, we're going to step away. When we come back to New Jersey Motorsports Park, our Supersport coverage will continue, as will the celebrations.
Tony Romo gives us the updates from Dunlop, and in that Supersport class, Rocco Landers with a super soft and a soft combination. It's a super soft front, right, with the soft rear. Only one other one with a super soft in the front that was on, or excuse me, the soft rear. Nobody. Actually, it was Luke Power, the only one on those first 3 rows that had the soft rear. But the front-wise, quite a few super softs, or a couple at least. Looks like Hayes had the same tire.
I wonder if Rocco must have made a last-minute decision on a different tire, you know,
Swapped
to say
out.
he said in his interview he made a couple different decisions right before the start of the race, so, and killed his front tire. I don't know if that was a tire choice or maybe some setup, but
yeah, because
you know, when you get to this level toward the front, all those little bitty mistakes, it all adds up, whether it's you change something right before the race and it doesn't work. And I think that's what's so great for Rocco. When I was talking about for the race, being able to race with some of these guys for the full race distance, he's going to learn, you know, like how every little mistake is huge, and then also his racecraft. You know, learning from what Josh was doing. If Rocco is ever in a championship position throughout his career, which he's going to be, he's going to go back and play this tape of how Josh Herron beat him, you know, when he was a kid.
Right. No, it was a great run by all 3, and there was only going to be one winner. And looking at that front row and their tire selections, on the front row from qualifying, you had super soft, extra soft, and soft. So 3 different decisions to be made. And I was even going to ask you that question early on today, because I thought the weather was going to be pretty consistent. I thought we would see the same tire patterns. But you've said that all along. It's what you feel comfortable with. It might not be conventional, but it's what you feel comfortable with. And we're seeing already, even on that front row, there were 3 different choices.
And I think one of the biggest reasons possibly why we're seeing a lot of different front tires, everybody's talking about bumps. So each tire is giving the rider what they want to feel over the bumps. That's giving them the most confidence.
The softer the tire, the more feedback, the more little squish in the tire.
You might not feel as much the bumps as much. So
okay.
I think that has a little bit to do with, because we don't usually see the whole front row on 3 different front tires.
That's the case.
I like that when there's more options like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you're racing, and tire choice is one of the big things you got to sit down and go over with your crew, just another variable to get done. And you know, Josh played his cards right. You know?
He did.
We were watching that race. He got in the lead where he wanted to lead, and he knew what he had to do. All he needed was that one clear lap. And,
you protected the line. You did everything you could.
Did you hear him there? He said, you protected the line. You did everything you could. That was perfectly said. Josh Hayes with a victory. He wins the battle. It's Josh Herron who wins the war.
MotoAmerica Supersport coverage is sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Celebrations in action right now as Josh Hayes stands on the top of the podium. Josh Herron in second spot with his #1 plate. Something I definitely wanted to keep in mind too, Jason, is that Araldo Faraci is a huge part of that Warhorse HSBK Ducati New York program, and he wins another championship in his career, along with all the people that celebrate. So here we go, Jason. Josh Herron has wrapped up the championship. He's celebrating now, but the question is, he still has to go back to the team and talk about changes to make for the motorcycle tomorrow, because he's now going to be focused on race wins only.
It's going to be interesting to see how many changes he actually makes, because I think he's going to be riding a little bit tight today. He's going to be protecting. He had one person to really beat. Said that in the telecast, that once Hayes got in the front, he wasn't worried about him. He was worried about Rocco, and it's going to get spicy tomorrow. I think tomorrow, with Mesa there as well, these guys all rode so amazing. We didn't see any real mistakes from any of these. As you can see here, early, Ty Scott, he'll be in the fight tomorrow as well. He led early. Greg Herron slid up underneath him, or tried to, on the opening lap, and wasn't quite able to make it. Rocco Landers went past Hayes, but then this big crash from Ty Scott, who will hopefully learn a little bit from that. But then we had a lead quartet of guys break away from everybody else. Rocco Landers and Herron were swapping back and forth, but it was this lap here where Hayes ended up, I think it's a couple laps from now, but he ends up getting a double bike draft, sliding up underneath both Herron and Landers down into turn 1 and set sail. These two guys were going to continue to fight as they swap positions between turns 1 and 2, lap after lap. And look at there, Mesa stuck his nose in there as well, G-Dub. A lap later, Landers was able to get in between Herron and Mesa, and he wanted to make a big push as Melissa, Josh Hayes' wife, celebrates with him taking another career victory. But it was Herron coming across the line here, Greg. You can see Rocco Landers does everything he can, but Herron protected himself really well those last 3-4 laps to prevent Rocco from getting past.
I'm looking forward to talking to Stefano Mesa about his role in the whole thing, because I think really he rolled out of it on the last lap and let him fight. So you can see there's only 75 points remaining in this championship. So Josh Herron has 80 over Rocco Landers. So even if Herron parked the motorcycle for the next 3 races, which he won't, he would still win this championship by 5 points. And that's why he wraps it up. But then you have Ty Scott and Benjamin Smith also in the mix. And of course, with the stuff that Josh Hayes has done, he ends up 5th in the championship, only racing a couple. But let's take a look back on history. Jason, Miguel Duhamel, the famed Miguel Duhamel, 86 total wins in his career. That spans across multiple classes, as is Josh Hayes' 85, Matt Mladen at 82, Cameron Beaubier, and Rich Oliver at 71. Of course, Rich Oliver doing a lot of winning in the old 250 GP class, amongst some other classes. So what are we talking about here, Jay, in the modern era? We're talking about Josh Hayes at 47 years old, possibly tying Miguel Duhamel's record tomorrow, as really the cuffs are off everybody. Mesa can race any way he wants, because he's not going to get involved. Josh Herron, everybody, right? Like, it's going to be such a crazy race tomorrow here in New Jersey Motorsports Park. There's even the possibility of the wet stuff. We don't want to say it too loud, but we certainly hope you will join us at New Jersey Motorsports Park as we bring you race number 2 from Millville, New Jersey. Well, for Hannah, Jamie, Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks so much for joining us. Supersport race number 1 and reigning a national champion. We'll see you tomorrow.